Good afternoon, friends. Here at jamplay.com, I'm Tyler Grant. Thank you for joining me in this, what I believe is week 8 of our classic Americana songs and tunes live series. Certainly grateful to be able to work from home during this time, and thank you for tuning in. So we've got a great classic song here, and this is known in country music circles and also in, it's a hymn. This is a classic hymn, so it's well known in gospel circles. And lots of folks have recorded versions of this, but it dates back to the 19th century. And it's a really beautiful song called In the Sweet By and By. So I will start by just I was just playing a version of it, if you caught the beginning, as we were getting set up. And I will now just kind of sing it for you so you get a sense of how it goes. I got lots of pages today, forgive me, fumbling around here. And one of them is the lyrics, because I don't have this song memorized. Had never done this song before this assignment, and I've always wanted to get into it. So here we go. Here's In the Sweet By and By, just singing it for you. There's a land that is fairer than day, and by faith we can see it afar, for the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. So that's how it goes. Notice I am capo 2. So as we get started here, go ahead and get your capo set up on the 2nd fret, and I'll explain what we're going to go through in today's lesson. We're going to learn the basic melody for that song. We're going to learn the chord changes, obviously. And then we're going to take 2 more steps with it. And these are my favorite steps for arranging songs and tunes for solo guitar. And the first one is melody strum, which we have covered in a previous lesson in this series. And I believe it was... I'll have to look it up to see which song it was. It was in the 2nd or the 3rd week. We did some melody strum treatments of one of the songs. And we're going to take it one step beyond that and get into crosspicking. I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently to get into some crosspicking, and we are going to do that today. So let's get right to it. Jason is at the helm today. Jason, if you would pull up the lead sheet, please. And so you should be capo 2 by now, and we're going to play this out of C position. And one of the reasons I'm capoing is because there's no way I could sing this in C. It's way too low. D is still a little bit low. I might, if I was performing this, I might capo 3 or 4. But the main reason we're capoing this on the 2nd fret is to treat this as a nice instrumental. And when we're doing these melody strums and cross-picking style arrangements, it's nice to have a little bit more snap on the string. It's nice to have a little more tension and a little bit more chime and less kind of rumbly low notes. So that's actually the main reason that we're capoing here, because we are treating this as an instrumental. I just wanted to sing it for you so you knew how it went. So looking at the lead sheet, we're going to be playing out of C position. So our first notes are, and I'm going to tell you the notes as if we're in open position. That's the easiest way for me to teach stuff when we're capoed. So I'm going to say 3rd fret here on the A string, or C note, right? And you just have to, forget about the transposition. Just imagine you're in open position, because we're not going to get out of open position at all. So here you go, 3rd fret on the A string, that's our tonic note, and then up the scale to the open D, and then 2nd fret of the D string, and then open D, down to the tonic note, back to the open D, then the tonic note, open A, and then the low G note, 3rd fret of the E string. So that's the first phrase. Let's play that together. I'll count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and like that, much slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay? And we're playing all downstrokes. This is a very simple, slow, all quarter notes and eighth notes type of arrangement, so all downstrokes. Next phrase begins the same. And that's just 1, 2, 3 of a C scale, right? And then we play the triad, so you hold down those 3 notes of a C chord, or these 2 notes, and the open G string. 1, 3, 5 of the chord, and then open G, back to that 2nd fret of the D string, and then the open D. So that is the first half of the verse, and then it repeats a lot of the same stuff with a slightly different ending. So let's play from the top up to that point. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, then moving on, it's exactly the same for the most part. Until we get to here, where we have a slightly different ending figure. Okay, so that's the entire verse, and then that's the first 2 lines of the tablature and the notation on the lead sheet. And then you see a double bar line at the end of that, and then the second half is the chorus. Okay, so we'll get to the chorus in a moment. Let's go ahead and play the melody together of that entire verse. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and two and 3 and two and 3 and It's amazing what you can do with such simple figures. Mostly just 1, 2, 3 of the scale, and there's a 5 in there. 1, 3, 5. So that's only 4 notes of the scale that we're using, and then we get to the end. And we have a 7, a leading tone. So we're only using 5 notes total of the C major scale. And just a lovely melody, and so basic and so simple, easy to sing along with, right? Okay, so moving on to the chorus, we have 2nd fret of the D string. That's the 3rd note of the scale, 1, 2, 3. And we go up the scale now. 3, 4, 5. So that's 2nd fret of the D string. I'm singing scale degrees now. This is a study that I like to do to help understand the melodies. But speaking fret numbers, it's the 2nd fret of the D string, 3rd fret of the D string, open G. And that's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th note of the scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. That's why I say that. So here we go. There's that note, 2nd fret of the D, 3rd fret of the D, open G, and this is the beginning of the third line that says chorus, and then open G, second fret of the D string, open D, and then up the scale from the open D, second fret, third fret, and then same note a few times, then second fret, open, back to the second fret. So let's just play that much from the pickup notes at the end of the second system to the beginning of the third system, and that's the chorus. Okay, from right there. 1, 2, 3, and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and. Okay, so that's all we covered so far. It moves on the same way it began. And this time it changes up and it goes down the scale from that second fret of the D string down to the tonic. Okay, then we got that note again, then the open A. And now what I would do is hold down a long C at this point, so at least the low notes of that, because then this is what I call a long C. Those of you who have worked with me have heard this before, where you have your third finger on the low E string third fret, and your fourth finger takes the place of the tonic note, so you can strum that whole thing. And all I'm saying is these three notes down here, you're going to play in succession, so you might as well hold those three down and they'll ring together. It's the 5, 1, 3 of the C chord. And then, so you play that, and then those two, and then the open D, you can release that chord, and then tonic note, 7, 1. So third fret, second fret, third fret. Okay, so, you know, it's helpful to understand the scale. I know that's not the point of this lesson, but, you know, when I learned this melody, I didn't even have my guitar. I put on, you know, a couple different versions of it and did some research and listened and wrote it down. And the reason I could do that is because I understand when I hear 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 6, 5. It's very clear to me which degrees of the major scale those are. So I was able to learn this melody without even picking up my instrument and without even knowing what key the melody is in. So it helps to sing your major scales, practice your major scales on the guitar, and really work on finding melodies by ear. And I have tons of resources on this in my Bluegrass Flatpicking Method course here on JamPlay. So all you JamPlay members, get into that and check that out. And in all of my main courses on JamPlay, I do this foundation of ear training pretty much before every section. So you understand how what we're playing relates to the fundamentals and the scales being used. So the chorus goes, I'll just sing it one time and then we'll play it together. I'll sing the scale degrees of the chorus. It goes 3, 4, 5, 5, 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 6, 5, 1, 3, 2, 1, 7, 1. So let's just play that entire chorus now together. And if you're looking at the tab, it's the second two lines, the second half of this arrangement, with the pickup notes at the end of the second line, those two pickup notes. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and coming up a storm outside. That is exciting. I'm here in Boulder County, Colorado, a little town called Lafayette right outside of Boulder. Okay, so let's play the entire melody now from the top. And please send in questions. We'll take a couple breaks during this hour and I'll answer some questions for you, okay? So far it's just the basic melody. Let's go ahead and play this all the way through along with the rhythm track. And I'll pick the medium tempo for the rhythm track since this is not a fast song anyway. We do have 3 tempos available to play along with. And if you are a Jam Play member, you have access to download these. And each of them goes 4 times through the entire song, so you have plenty of opportunity to jam and work on your arrangements along with the rhythm track. So here we go. I'll count you in, and let's just play through the basic melody here on the lead sheet. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Play it again from the top. 3 and... 3. Love that old country sound. I just love this song. Okay, so let's go through the chord changes really quick. Jason, if you'd leave that lead sheet up and we'll have a look at the chords written above the basic melody. And it's all 1-4-5 in C position, right? We're technically in the key of D because we're capoed up to the key of D, but I'm going to call out C, F, and G chords. So your C chord here, and the F chord, I might do what I call a long F because it's easy, as we've gone over in a few of these lessons in this series so far, to go from the C chord to what I call the long F, where you leave your 3rd finger on the C note and scrunch your 4th finger in there on the F note. You want to get good at that chord change. And then our 3rd chord is a G7. Okay? And that's the version of a G7 that I'm playing. So that's all we got. Let's go ahead and play it from the top, and I will shout out the chords to you. There's a quick little C to F to C right off the top. And that's the fastest little chord change. 2 beats of C off the top, and then 2 beats of F, and then right back to C for 2 whole measures after that. So here we go. From the top, we'll strum the chords, and I'm doing like a basic boom strum. Pretty much the same rhythm we've played on every song and tune in this series. So, but whatever strum pattern you like, let's just go ahead and bang through the chords. Okay, here we go. A 1 and 2 and a ready, and here comes the C and the F, back to C. Hold the C. The C. Da, da, to G7. Da, da, da. Back to C. G7 here, back to C. So that's the verse. Moving on to the chorus, it's a C chord, sweet, to G7, by and by. Another measure of G7. We shall meet on that beautiful seashore. C chord, we shall meet to a G7 on that beautiful shore. Let's speed it up a tiny bit and I'll sing it. Let's strum through it one more time. There's a land, F, that is fairer, C, than day. Hold the C. And by faith we can see G7 afar, back to C, for the Father, F, waits over the way, C, to prepare us, G7, a dwelling place there. Moving on to the chorus, C chord, in the sweet G7, by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful, back to C, shore. Hold the C, in the sweet F, by and by, C, we shall meet G7 on that beautiful shore. Okay, so now that we know the chord changes, I wanted to go through it twice to get you a chance to practice those chords, because we're going to be using them throughout our melody, strum, and our cross-picking arrangements. Jason, if you want to go ahead, we don't have any questions yet. Feel free to please send in your questions if you have them. Let's go ahead and pull up the melody strum arrangement, and I'm looking at it to make sure I play the same notes that I wrote down for you to play. So in this arrangement, there is a technique that I call melody strum. Some folks call it bass melody. This is based on kind of early country, mainly Mother Maybelle Carter and some of the early players who recorded in the 20s and 30s and who would arrange melodies this way by keeping the melody in the bass and strumming the treble notes of the chord that is associated with that part of the melody. So we're alternating playing melody notes with strums of whatever remains of the chord. So to begin, hold down a C chord and play those first three melody notes, the low C, open D, 2nd fret, and then your pick will land on the G string and you strum the remaining notes. Okay, so that's one quick strum there. Then we got melody notes, open D, C, open D, with just these three notes.
Well, sorry about that, everybody. Looks like we lost Tyler. Let me see if I can get him back here. Sometimes these will come back automatically. Sometimes we actually have to restart them on Tyler's end. Okay, I am in contact with Tyler, and he says he'll be right back. So hopefully it'll be just a couple seconds.
We lost signal for a moment there. It might have been this lightning storm. Every now and then the signal drops and everything shuts down. So hopefully we're back on. Waiting for word from Jason here. In the moment, I'll just kind of talk to you for a minute. This melody strum style is really neat because you can accompany yourself, and it's a very genuine kind of classic stylistic way of arranging this type of melody. Okay, we've confirmed that we're back. Thank you, Jason. Sorry about that. So where we were was just the first two measures of the melody strum arrangement. So I'll play those for you and just kind of watch my fingers and listen. So that's what we have so far. Notice I am picking out the melody notes as much as possible with rest strokes so that they ring louder than the chord strum. You want that melody to be separated from the accompaniment. You don't want it all to blend together and be the same volume. So let me overemphasize just so you can hear it. That's an exaggeration, but you get the idea. The melody should kind of ring a little bit louder than the chord strums. So we're doing real light strums on the chords and louder strokes on the melody notes. Okay? So let's play those first two measures together from the top, including the pickup notes. A 1 and 2 and 3 and. Moving on, it begins the same way. I'll shift back to a regular C chord and play those first melody notes. That same little strum of those three strings, the three treble strings of the C chord. Now I play the C arpeggio, holding down all these notes. And notice that just leaves the two treble strings, the first and second string, for a little two-string strum, and then melody notes. Open D, and now we've got a little one finger G7. That's your best friend with this type of arrangement. It gives your fretting hand a chance to kind of take a little bit of a break, and usually that melody note at that part of the song is ringing. So many of these melodies are very similar to one another, and you have a lot of these exact same moves on many of them, which is why I like to show some of the basic moves of this melody strum, because you can apply it to lots of other songs. So then moving on, we have the same beginning, those two melody notes, and then that one with a little strum, and then melody, open D, low C note, open D, that little 3-finger or little, 3-note F chord with the D underneath it, and then melody notes. Same thing as the beginning. Then we go on to the ending of the verse, which starts the same. Open D, C, open D, one little strum on the 1-finger G7, and then melody notes. Now that's a little thing I do. I'll include the bass notes at the end of every section. At the end of a verse, at the end of a chorus. It's just a stylistic thing to move the arrangement along. And it's the only time I use the alternating bass notes. The whole entire rest of this is just melody notes in the bass. So when I get to the end, then it's on to the next section, okay? So that's the entire verse, okay? Let us go ahead and give that a try together, really, really slow. And if you're not, just observe and understand that you get the feel for this kind of thing with a little bit of practice. And hang on to this song. I call it my pet song of the week. Play it every day and just kind of work on these little arrangements, and your fingers will start to just feel that by muscle memory, and you'll get a nice feel for this. I know it's a lot to kind of take in all at once, but once you understand these components are very simple, just the melody and the bass on the treble strings, then you'll be able to, like I said, arrange simple melodies this way, piece of cake, okay? So here we go, nice and slow from the top, melody strum arrangement, just the verse. A 1 and 2 and a 3 and. Okay. You can obviously do a little more with the strums once you get this down. This is meant to be a very square, very mechanical, almost like a music box kind of arrangement. From there, you can work with different elements of rhythm strums and different phrasing. Okay? So moving on, at the end of that third line of this melody strum arrangement, you'll see those same pickup notes. And then here's the last measure of that third line, and that's the beginning of the chorus. So that's how you do it. You got same melody notes, 2nd fret of the D, 3rd fret, open G, and it only leaves you 2 notes to strum on your C chord. And then melody notes, open G, 2nd fret of the D, open D, 1-finger G7. Then melody notes, open D, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. Same 1-finger G7. You kind of alternate that. I'm simplifying the melody in order to work in more chord strums. So that's why I'm not playing this. I'm simply going. Then melody. Moving on, same melody notes, open G, that little 2-string strum of a C chord, then melody notes down the scale from the 2nd fret of the D string, open, low C, and this requires a long F chord to strum above that. This is a move you're going to see all the time in these types of arrangements. Now you got that low C note that you're already fretting, play it, and then open A, and now your low G with a long C above it, strum, then melody notes, open D, strum a 1 finger, G7, then melody, and then that same little root, strum, 5, strum, root, strum. Okay? So I'm going ahead and kind of moving through this a little bit quickly because we have to get to the cross picking. So this is something that you can sit with if you're still working through it. You can come back to this lesson and check it out. And obviously all your Jam Play members can download this notation and print it out and just kind of sit and work with it on your own time, at your own pace, as well as those rhythm tracks. So here is the chorus, okay? So this is starting from the last measure of the 3rd line, that little bit that we just worked through, the chorus part of the song. Go ahead and play along with me if you got it. Otherwise, just observe and listen. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Sweet, huh? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and perform this entire melody strum for you, just for your reference, okay? So here we go, all the way through. I'm going to play it a little bit faster, and feel free to play along if you'd like. Otherwise, just observe, and here's how it goes. 1, 2, 3. So that's exactly as written. If I'm performing this, I might do something like... more of a rhythm to it, you know what I mean? But start with this, all down strokes, all down strums, and really get the melody and the chords, you know, separated and accompanying one another. Okay, so Jason, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the cross-picking page. Now, I realize that this is a little bit ambitious getting to all of these elements in this lesson, but I did promise that we would get to cross-picking. And you have to lay down that foundation before you understand how to approach something with cross-picking. So the beginning of this first page is simply the cross-picking patterns. And so understand that this, if you're new to this, you're going to want to just work on these cross-picking patterns, you know, quite a bit daily and incorporate them into your technical study. And once the cross-picking patterns become automatic, then all you do is basically lay those onto the same type of arrangement that we just played. And you can fill that in with cross-picking, sort of arpeggios, instead of the strums. And then you can go back and forth between those two techniques, and that's a fun thing. So the first cross-picking pattern written out here is a 4-note forward roll. And by forward, I mean we're going this way, from low to high, and it always goes low to high. And this comes from banjo terminology because they categorize all the different banjo patterns. They call them rolls. So this is a forward roll of 4 notes, and I'm just using the open strings to practice this pattern with the picking hand, okay? So open D is a downstroke, G is an upstroke, open B is a downstroke, open E is an upstroke. And you play that over and over again, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So I'll count you in and let's just play that pattern. Realize you need to keep your pick really straight down and up, very perpendicular to the string without too much waving, because this is a very precise control thing. And eventually you'll get this to the point where you can play it really automatically and really clean and a little bit faster. But let's go really slow. I'll count ready. I'll count 3 E and 4 E and we'll start. Okay, this is written in 16th note, so a little slower. 3 E and 4 E and down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Keep that going. 1 E and up, 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. One more measure. And up, 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and. Okay, so practice that. That one is pretty straightforward, and you're just, you know, you can see what I mean by cross-picking. You're crossing over the strings with alternating strokes. The next is a 3-note forward roll using alternating strokes. Now, I put 2 different versions of each of these next ones coming up. It's the same exact pattern. It's a 3-note forward roll. So this time it's... like so, and that's a tricky little pattern because it's uneven and it turns itself over every time. So there's 2 different versions of that. There's the alternating strokes, which is in the second measure, and then the measure following that, the first measure of the second system, has the down, down, up version. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And there's a lot of bluegrass players who use that technique. I'm not very good at that technique at all. I'm a total alternating cross picker, okay? So you kind of got to do some soul searching to figure out if you're an alternator or if you're a down, down, up. And this is strictly for the 3-note forward roll. For the 4-note stuff, I would definitely, you know, encourage you to alternate that. And the other thing is, you know, I could do down, down, up really slow. But once it gets to tempo, forget it. I can do the alternating really fast, but I hit a wall at some point. I hit a threshold with the down, down, up. So that's why I decided long ago that I'm more of an alternating cross picker. So here's the 3-note forward roll alternating. As in the second measure, it's open G string, down, open B string, up, open E, down, and then you reverse it, open G, up, B, down, E, up. So it's down, up, 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 down. And that's one entire measure. And I give a slight pause at the end of that so we can come back in on the downbeat. Otherwise, it would keep tumbling over itself because it's kind of syncopated. 3 against 4. So we'll count ready and go, E, and down, up, like so, but slower, okay? Ready and go, E, and down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, 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 down, and down, up, down, up, down, up. Measure down, up, 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 down. Okay? So, if this is new to you, I have a feeling that you might be thinking, whoa, this is weird, it's difficult. And it is that way at first. This is something I'm just trying to introduce you to and get you into understanding the concept of cross-picking. And like I said, you can come back and work this through at your own pace, work on these techniques, and then tackle the arrangement. And also, I go into this in depth in my Bluegrass Flatpicking courses here on jamplay.com. So there's the Mastering Bluegrass Guitar, the new one that just came out recently, and I believe it might still be on sale. But the one that precedes that, which I would encourage you to start with, is the Bluegrass Flatpicking Method series. I go through this in depth and we work up some cross-picking arrangements. But here it is, same thing. So there's the down, down, up version as well, which is simply down, down, up, down, down, up. So that's there for you to explore. But I'm going to stick with alternate. If you're a down, down, up player, great. Do that on your forward rolls, your 3-note rolls, 3-note forward rolls, okay? The way I wrote this arrangement out is strictly alternating. So you would have to translate that, just ignore the pick strokes if you're a down, down, up player. Ignore the pick strokes when we get to 3-note forward rolls. And we'll get to that in a minute. But here is the 3-note forward roll variation. Alternating. So this is the second measure of the second system, and this is just a simple variation on that same 3-note forward roll pattern. I realized I made a typo. Jason, I'll get you the correct tablature. That first note should be an open G string, just like it's just the 3 strings. I've made a little typo there. I'll correct that and get that into you, Jason, to post for the downloads for all you Jamplay members, okay? But it's open G and then open E. You skip the middle note of the first roll. So it's down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. Okay, so that gives that low note, because the low note is usually the melody, just like in melody strum arrangements. It gives that note a minute to breathe and kind of stand out. and also gives you an ability to economize your cross picking, okay? So let's try that, the 3-note forward roll variation, alternating strokes. I'll count you in. Ready, and slow E, and down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 2 more measures. Down. Okay, so since we're getting to the end here, I'm going to go ahead and perform this cross-picking arrangement for you, nice and slow, so you can hear at which points I'm using forward rolls of 4. It's all forward rolls, but you're going to hear which ones are 4-note rolls and which ones are 3-note rolls, and I'll kind of explain why in just a moment we would use one or the other. But it's basically using whichever pattern, whichever roll, whichever cross-picking pattern fits best on the melody strum arrangement. So instead of going, now we're doing this. Okay, working that into a consistent cross-picking pattern. So here we go. I'm going to play this whole arrangement for you of the cross-picking. There is a page turn right before the chorus there, Jason. Then we'll come back and work through this with as much time as we have, okay? Here we go. Cross-picking arrangement in the Sweet By and By, key of D, C position, capo 2. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 and... That's nice, isn't it? So you see why we capo 2 to get that nice chimey sound on that cross picking, and those low bass notes won't be too rumbly. Not to say you couldn't play this in open C, that's totally fine. It's just easier and a little bit more snappy, capoed up. So let's walk through this really quick. It's all the exact same melody notes, the exact same chords. We're just kind of getting into cross picking. So first 2 melody notes are the same. And you hold down this part of a C chord and you roll up a 4-note forward roll right there. So there's your first 4-note forward roll. And then 2 melody notes, open D, low C, open D with that little partial F chord above it, 4-note forward roll. Okay, right there. You could do these kind of one at a time when you're learning this, and then piece it all together. Melody note, low C, open A, and now we've got our low notes of the long C chord, right? 3 times on a 4-note forward roll from that low note up to the G string. on, we got melody notes. Now I utilize the 3-note forward roll, which causes me to rearrange the melody slightly to fit that in. So this next measure goes... Okay, so it's a melody note here with a 3-note forward roll. Then this low melody note on the next 3-note forward roll, starting an upstroke. And then melody note, and then 2 times on the open G string with that high portion of the C chord, just your first finger there, and the G string up to the high E string. 2 3-note forward rolls. And then the open D string, your 1-finger G7, and this is that alternate version of it, or the variation I should say, open D. Okay, that allows us to play the open D string and then skip up to this higher string grouping. You could fit one more 3-note roll in there, but I just wanted to give you time to kind of pause and get ready for the next bit. So that's the first 4 measures. Moving on, it's all the same stuff. This measure is slightly different. 3-note roll here. Then another one with the open D, so. Then open D with a open G chord, open 3 strings, D, G, and B. Then that little, okay, syncopated thing. And then we have the 4-note forward roll with the alternating bass, just like the melody strum. So, we're getting on to our last minute here, so I'll just briefly get to the chorus and how I approach that. Same melody notes, we'll go ahead and turn the page. And then we get into this variation of the 3-note forward roll on each one of these measures. Here's a C chord with the G as the melody. So, there it is. Melody notes, G7. All 3-note forward roll with that variation. That's that section of a long F chord. 3-note forward roll just on those 3 notes. And then we end it with kind of a combination of things. 4-note forward roll on the low, long C. Then melody notes. And then same little ending as the verse. And then exactly same little 4-note alternating pattern. How's everybody doing out there? Are you following me? Do you have any questions? We haven't had any questions yet. So you are either totally wrapped in attention here, and I hope you are interested in this kind of cross-picking. I did promise we would get to it. And remember, like I said, in my lesson series on jam play, the Bluegrass Flatpicking method, as well as the Mastering Bluegrass Guitar, I get into cross-picking in a lot of detail and work through lots of examples, and we spend, a lot of time on it. But it's all right here for you. So like I said, you jam play members, you can come back to this and work through it at your own pace. You can print out this tablature and sit and work with it like an arrangement, like an assignment, And all the pick strokes are there, and you've heard me play it, so you have that example you can come back to on the video. And you have the rhythm tracks as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap up this session here by performing this song for you, okay? And what I will do is play first I'm going to strum through the melody strum arrangement. Then I'm going to play through the cross-picking arrangement. And then the third time through, I'm just going to jam on it, okay? So here we go. And I'm just going to play this for you solo. You have these rhythm tracks to play along with, but I'm showing you how you can self-accompany, okay? So I'll just perform it as a solo piece. Okay, like I said, the song's still pretty fresh to me, and if I played this every day, it would start sounding really, really nice, and I would get more command of all of those techniques within this particular song and this arrangement, and that's the same way it's going to be for you. So I hope you hang on to this song and enjoy it. And once again, I am Tyler Grant, and I will be back next week at this same time. And we will get into another classic Americana song. All right? So thanks again, Jason, at the helm there today. And thank you all for being patient and bearing with all this information. Understand, it's just 3 simple steps that once you gain control of them, you can apply them to any song. Okay? So once again, Tyler Grant here at jamplay.com. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.